Welcome to Politics News Wolf US channel. The Russian-Ukrainian war, which is about to enter its first year, is getting more and more intense. Day-by-day explosion news continues to come from different parts of the country every day. Powerful explosions occurred on the territory of the Belgrove region. According to residents of the Belgrove region, at these two powerful explosions could be heard in the area. The nature of the letter has not yet been disclosed, but according to preliminary data, this did not lead to any disruption and victims. At the disposal of the press journalists for video footage taken by outdoor surveillance cameras, which captured the moment of a powerful explosion on the territory of the Belgo region. Some sources report that the explosions were not the result of an attack from Ukraine, but the governor of the Belgo region, Weslako, did not make an official statement about this, allowing the situation to be. According to available data, with exception of this event on the eve of the day, the territory of the Belgor region was twice smashed by powerful shelling, which among other things, damaged buildings and led to their destruction. According to preliminary data, victims and injured were avoided. The sounds of war became rooting in this market. A few miles from Russia border with Ukraine, other cells just meters away are reduced to spun middle. He was hit by a mortar a few days. The mortar was closed at the time, so no one was hurt. In many parts of Russia, it feels like a virtual war away from home. A conflict played out on TV, but in the Belgo region of Russia, the war feels sore and so close. Reza Alexandro, who was selling Sweet Zero, had lost her sense of security. Reza, no one's protecting us. When people go home they don't know if they still be in one piece in the morning. She says, everyone in the market says that they live in fear of the bombardment of Ukraine, but they neglect to mention that it was their own country that invaded Ukraine. They confirmed that a year ago life here was quiet and peaceful. Yet they refuse to join the points and blame the Kremlin for what happened. Reza, we had to launch this military operation. It is writing. We just had to be better prepared for it. We should have recruited people immediately. Many of our young people are dying. There will be no one left for our woman to marry. She insists in the city of Alro, the capital of region. A giant letters at a symbol of Russia's military operation was erected along a busy highway. There have also been explosions in Alro in recent months, including a marked strike at the airport and oil depot and power station. All of a sudden, the residents have to thinking about where to hide. Shelters were built in cellars and basements of apartment. The conversations here are similar to those in the market. Most people say, yes, security only become an issue after the invasion. But no, they're not blaming the occupation itself. It is as if there is a psychological firewall that prevents people from tying to deteriorating security registration to the decision of their president. If there is a firewall, patriotic messaging feeds. Looking down from billboards and advertising horse in Belgo are portraits of decorated Russian soldiers fighting in Ukraine. Images and slogans encouraged the public to rally around the flag. In addition to the slogans on the street, there is a propaganda on Russian state television, news, politics, and talk shows from morning to night. Assure viewers that Russia is right. He said that Ukraine and the West are aggressors, and that in this conflict, Russia's future is at. In a Belgrade knitting shop, I chat with the owner. He openly believes that the West is pulling the wool from everyone's eyes. By criticizing Russia outside the shop, law student agrees. The references to Hitler are not accidental. You hear them all the time on Russian television to spark patriotic enthusiasm and increase popular support for a special mentor operation to paint the war in Ukraine in colors. Similar to World War II, Russia fighting fascism, fighting to defend the modern land from foreign animat. The reality is very different. Nazi Germany invaded Soviet Union in 2022. Vladimir Putin's Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in the wasteland outside of Bero. I see firsthand how connections were made with the Second World War. A group of armed men agreed to meet with me. They called themselves Smuch after notorious counterintelligence unit created by Joseph Stalin in World War II. They will not reveal their faces or names, but will talk briefly about their activity. One man said, "We are currently training a territorial defense force for the Belgor region. Some of those in training have experienced in combat. Some are ex-police and veteran. If there's an attack on Russia, they will defend the Belgor region. As for us, any tasks that the Commander-in-Chief can give us, we will do it in any city, anywhere. Ukraine is a Western puppet, and the West has always wanted to destroy Russia. Hitler wanted to seize our land. Who wouldn't we have?" A huge country says not everyone shares this view, but few are willing to accept it publicly. Ivan, I don't believe I can influence the situation. I understand what country I live in and what the authorities do to prevent ordinary people from expressing their opinions. Such a statement is dangerous, says among the man trained is New York BLO, a local writer and businessman in Belgor. New York found a support group for Ukrainians who had crossed into Russia to escape. Ukraine coincidences with present. Putin's controversial. A Euro for and fierce Ukrainian reasons chose to opposite. Now more than at any time in post-Soviet history. The Ukrainian people value their soul and independence and are determined not to be forced back into Moscow's orbit. Meanwhile, Moscow continues portray Ukrainian officials as neo-Nazi and Western governments as Nazi sympathizers. And the reason the Kras makes frequent reference instance to the 1940s. Under President Putin, the national idea was built around World War II, what most Russians called Great Pet War bought Soviet victory in that war, and the enormous human cost of that victory. It is a very emotional subject. Olga, who runs a church koi in Belgor, says she was very scared when a city was being bombed. When I told him this world have happened. If a special military operation hadn't started, his first reaction must refer to the Second World War. I bring us back to the Great Patriotic War, which was a time of great sacrifice. Sacrifices are always made. Our men know that when they go to war, they can be killed. She says, Olga, Russia did not provoke this war. Russian will give you the short on your back. Russia did not attack Ukraine. Russians are peace-loving and generous. She says, President of Ukraine, Wall Zealand, he said that Russia has started a new large-scale offensive. There was no explanation from Russia about these claims of Zell. On the other hand, United States Under-Secretary of State for Political Victoria Nuland said that Ukraine cannot be safe unless the Crimea Peninsula is at least demilitarized. Nuland said that Russia has made an important military buildup in Crimea. Therefore, it is a legitimate target for Ukraine. Ukraine is hitting these targets. Thank you for watching the video. If you find it useful, please comment and share the video for us. It will make our channel